as entertaining as it is for me to make these videos, it's fun to rant. I like to talk. You don't really need them. You already know what to do. It's the craziest thing. So I knew 15 years ago, the first time I saw the word meditate, something in me just burned. And I knew that's what I need to do. And it took another decade or longer to actually start doing it. So I knew I had a gut instinct, and I know you have these too, where you feel something, where you know something, where something just feels right, even though it doesn't make sense at the time to you or to your friends or your family or anyone else. You just know. Somebody says something, you pick up a book, you're led somewhere, you have an experience, you meet someone. We all are guided in life to what we need. The problem is we often, even though we feel it or know it deep down, it's subtle, or if it's obvious, we don't have the fortitude to actually do something about it. And I'm speaking from experience. I wasted years not listening to my inner knowing, just ignoring it, thinking that something else was better, that I was going to find something somewhere else. Here's the unsexy truth. You know what to do, you're just not doing it. You know deep down what you need to do right now. And you're probably watching this video because you're ignoring what you need to do. Just like I was meditating and got frustrated because I couldn't focus very good today and stopped and decided to make this video. Now, when I'm done, I'm going to go back to meditation because that's what I need to be doing. It's so simple. It's so simple. We just ignore it. Like, look, if you have anxiety, don't drink coffee. If you're overweight, eat less. If you want to be in shape, go to the gym. If you want to run a marathon, start running. Like, if you're cold, put on a sweater. It's very, very simple. Why don't we do these things? If you want to awaken, meditate, or do self-inquiry, or shadow work, or counseling, or just pick something. Just start. Do something every single day towards the goal that you want. And then when you reach that goal, or when you get to the point where the goal disappears, which in a way means you kind of reached it, then do what you want. Or keep a practice because it's healthy. It took me 2 years of daily meditation for something inside of me to just break. And now I feel wonderful. And I still meditate because I realize there's farther to go. I was just reading the 10 ox herding pictures. I just blasted through a book I highly recommend, The 3 Pillars of Zen. It's really practical. There's no spiritual fluff in there, which I love. They just get right to the point. They're like, hey, look, sit down, meditate, and get enlightened. And if it just stop thinking about anything else, don't do anything else. You know, if you have emotions come up, whatever. If you have visions come up, whatever. Just ignore them. Keep meditating until it happens for you. And so Zen has a great track record of people actually becoming enlightened. Now, at the end of the book, there's the 10 ox herding pictures, which are very famous. It's kind of shows the stages of awakening to enlightenment, to liberation. And if I'm being completely honest with myself, I was reading through them and realizing where I was. I thought, wow, I'm really at the halfway point. The fifth ox herding picture is where I'd say I was at. which means, well, all the time I feel peace, like everything is perfect, like I don't need to do anything. I'm not striving to get somewhere, to get farther, but I do realize that as life unfolds, this thing gets deeper and more intense and more liberating. Like, I'm not Jesus or Buddha or some of these very enlightened masters or Yogananda, like they've got so far. It's inspirational. And it just shows what the human is capable of. Now, if I read about that and then put the book down and then went and read another book about it and then put it down and then watched a video about it, and I did that for the next 2 years, that's pointless. The idea is to gain the information. And here's the part that a lot of spirituality or non-duality, they don't talk about. Once you have an idea of where you want to go, you gotta get the hell up and move in that direction. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Like, it's just common sense. Start moving in that direction. So awakening, my goal wasn't even awakening, actually. It was just to get rid of anxiety at first. And I started meditating, and a month or 2 months in, it was really quickly, my anxiety completely disappeared. And I told myself, if meditation can do that, I will never stop meditating, because what else is it capable of? So I meditate every single day, and I have ever since my anxiety disappeared, because I was shocked and also surprised that nobody told me about it. I'm thinking, what? Like, I know I'm in America and Christianity is our common religion here, or atheism. It's like one or the other. Is people very Christian or very not? But there's no, and Eastern philosophy and religion has more influence. It's gaining more influence. But still, nobody that I had ever met in my life, out in the world, at work, in coffee shops, like nobody ever told me, hey, you have anxiety. Meditation cures that. I would have done it. I would have done it. So I can get on here and tell you through experience, meditation and curiosity combined are the ingredients that awaken you, that cause awakening, because it happened to me. That's all I did. And it doesn't matter what you choose. Everyone's practice is different. Sit down and stare at the wall, or sit down and close your eyes. And when thoughts come up, ignore them and just focus on one thing. Choose anything. Choose your breath. Choose a chant, one phrase, who am I? Or in Zen, what is mu? I don't personally like that one, but I see the point. And just make it as simple as possible. And then throughout your day, if you get angry, if you get frustrated, like this morning, like I was getting frustrated, I got to ask myself, why? Why am I frustrated right now? Because I'm believing thoughts that I shouldn't be frustrated. That's why I was frustrated. So then you step back and you look at your thoughts, and sometimes you analyze and you dig into it and you get to the bottom of it, and sometimes you ignore them and just meditate. Just ignore them and breathe. And that's it. It's that simple. It's that simple. But that's not sexy. It doesn't sell. It doesn't get views. People want to hear the deep, interesting, fun, philosophical things, which I could get on here and talk about, but it's not really. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's just a distraction from what you actually need. What you need is the simplicity of a practice that you're doing consistently every single day. And that's just the unsexy truth of this whole thing. It's boring. Sometimes it's really boring. It's not fun. And you just think, what a waste of 20 minutes. What a waste of an hour. Why did I do that? But over years, As someone who's been doing this for a couple of years, I can tell you it absolutely changes and shifts your entire life. Like, look, we have to eat food every day. And it doesn't have to be relevant. It doesn't have to be amazing. Like, do you remember what you ate last Wednesday for lunch? No? Well, who cares? You eat because you have to and you need to, and it keeps you alive, not because every meal is something to be remembered and something epic. Meditation is the same way. You just meditate for your mind, for who you are, for the reality and the truth and the peace and the love to emerge. But it's not always relevant or sexy or fun, and you don't always have an epic revelation, you know? Especially if you're like me, I'm more of a contemplative, not a mystic. I heard Adi Ashanti talk about this once, and he's very right. He's more contemplative, and it's just more like some people are more thinking than feeling, and you know, a lot of people don't have, like me, I've had a few experiences, but not a mystic will have sit down and meditate and just have a deep, crazy experience. They'll go to the astral realm and they'll feel and experience all these things, and they'll see all this stuff, and they'll have visions, and that's awesome. But not everyone's like that. People more contemplative, such as myself, we can sit and just nothing happens, and it seems like nothing's happening. And over years, you start to see the slow progression, and it's beautiful, but it's really in such tiny increments of inconsequential things that during the time that you're doing the practice, it seems like nothing. But then if you can look back over time and gauge where you are now based on where you started, it is not nothing. There is a huge difference, and it's beautiful. So I'm just making this to tell you to meditate, because that's the answer. And sometimes when I don't want to meditate, I've done this where I just get on YouTube and watch videos about meditation or I'll read a book about meditation instead of doing it. And it's such a weird mind trick. It's almost like we feel or we think that we're doing something good or beneficial by knowing about or reading about or listening to someone else's experience. And in a way, that is true. It can inspire us, but it can also become a distraction to your practice. So, something to be aware of. I would recommend, if you want anything that I've talked about in my last videos, peace, no anxiety, a feeling of love all the time, a feeling that everything is inherently absolutely okay and there's no problems, not being offended by what other people say or do, because you really do realize that everyone is just perceiving the world based on who they are, not who you are. All those things. And then eventually, even more. You just dissolve more and more, and you find more and more peace and more love. And have experiences of absolute oneness and beauty. And find the peace of nature to just permeate your entire being. I could go on. Like, there's a lot of benefits. But to get there, to find that, if you are not curious, asking yourself questions, doing shadow work, meditating daily, then I don't know what to tell you, because that's how you get there. So just start, even if it's boring. And I have an hour before I have to do anything, so that's what I'm going to go do right now. Thanks for watching.